Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday to you. Get your coffee ready. We're going to get right into Morning Manna. We're going to start the book 1 Peter, and we're going to go through the first part of this chapter. It says this: Peter, an apostle of Jesus Christ, to God's elect, exiles scattered throughout the provinces of Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia, who have been chosen according to the foreknowledge of God the Father, through the sanctifying work of the Spirit, to be obedient to Jesus Christ and sprinkled with his blood. Grace and peace be yours in abundance. In verse 3, now that's just the intro, but verse 3 says this: Praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. In his great mercy, he has given us new birth into a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead, and into an inheritance that can never perish, spoil, or fade. This inheritance is kept in heaven for you, who through faith are shielded by God's power until the coming of the salvation that is ready to be revealed in the last time. Having studied 1 Peter a number of times, before we get into the bulk of what he has to say in his first letter here, I think there's some things we need to know about Peter. First and foremost, Peter is not merely an apostle. I mean, he is one of the disciples, but you kind of get this sense as you read through the Gospels that Peter is kind of a leader, or maybe the leader of this apostolic group. Certainly an important and influential man in the early church. And when this letter was written, it would have been received as such a way. I mean, the Christians who would have been receiving this letter would have sensed an element of importance, as if though it had come from someone else, potentially. More than any other person other than Jesus, Peter is mentioned in the Gospels. More than anyone other than Jesus, you hear about Peter. No one speaks outside of Jesus as much as Peter does in the Gospels. And Jesus did not speak to any one individual more than he did Peter, as we have recorded in the Gospels. Jesus is rebuked by Peter more than any other disciple. He confesses Jesus Christ and his following of Christ as Messiah more boldly than any other disciples. He denies Jesus more forcefully and certainly publicly than any other disciples. And we find that Jesus actually kind of sings Peter's praises more than he does the other disciples in this. And Jesus addressed Peter. Think about this. Jesus calls him Satan, right? Get behind me, Satan, he says. So there is a unique dynamic in this relationship with Peter. And I think before we even get into the study of the word, that's really kind of what I want to leave on today, is that the person writing this letter is a very dynamic disciple. He is a very direct, to the point, kind of a hardcore, rough, burly guy is the image that we get of Peter. I mean, he was a fisherman. He worked on the docks. It was hard labor. And Peter is a guy who was not afraid to stand up for what is right, to call a spade, so to speak, and stand his ground. There's even, in times when he challenges Jesus, so to speak. So as we get into this study, know that is who Peter is. So what's your devotion in something like this? Be who you are. Be who you are, who God made you to be. Peter really goes through a lot of changes, not really so much, though, in personality. He goes through changes in some of his behavior and his thought processes as he matures in the faith, and so should we. So that's your devotion. Be maturing in the faith. Be who you are. Be the way God made you. But don't be afraid to change. Don't be afraid to learn. And certainly, don't be afraid to grow. And that is your devotion for the day. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can be made aware every time we put out a new video. Go bless somebody else today. Watch what happens in your life. We'll see you.